Greetings, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you. The little round circle kept spinning and spinning and spinning, and finally it said going live, and then it said, You're live. Here we are. I'm alive. YouTube's going to let me know it too. How are you? Are you alive? Are you doing all right? Are you staying within your skin bag and keeping it cool? Because I know, especially if you're going through a series of emotions, it makes it a much more difficult to keep your emotions stable. And one of the things that I brought into my medicine, what I do for myself and what I help my clients with is stabilizing their energy. And so one of the first things is gathering, stabilizing. Typically it's detoxifying because most people did not know that they had certain elements inside of them. They did not know that, just like a consult I did yesterday for 45 minutes with a beautiful young man in New York, that arthritis was coming from 3 different things. It was coming from an inherited tissue pattern, more than likely. We hadn't done the tissue test yet, and copper levels, number 1. Number 2, it was likely coming from eating a lot of starchy foods, even though they were vegan and fantastic foods. They were definitely stiffening and starching up the body. And number 3, there's a mind-body component, which I could clearly see when I've got time with someone, on the screen, and I can see their face and their eyes and their tongue, and actually number 4 was that I felt that he really had a very long-term thyroid deficiency, that now he's metabolically, which he qualified, his blood pressure is higher, and I could see several signs, which I won't, go into, that indicated to me that he was going from probably a slowed metabolism into a fast, when he was becoming a fast oxidizer. And so what I didn't realize in my 30s, on this very long learning curve, I'm 59, was that I only, like my son, who died at 24, is I only wanted to do it with food. So I was like, nope, I'm not taking supplements. I'm not going to do it any other way besides I'm doing it totally naturally, and I'm just going to do it with food. And I'm here to tell you that that may not be possible today. And we certainly need to take a look at your inherited tissue mineral pattern. So ideally, this is why I say let's get your hair tissue test, and at least mom's, but ideally mom and dad. So then I can look at and see, because mom gave birth to you, and mother's thyroid and mother's nutrient elements are crucial. They're not even just like slightly important. They're like really, really important. All right. So this brings me to the point that when I'm taking dogs outside and it's 5 degrees, 6 degrees, 7 degrees, which it has been, that's pretty cold, right? But being a person who's in Minnesota 19 years now, I've learned how to dress for it, which, I first came here and I'm cussing and spitting and, this godforsaken place, it's horrible. How would anybody even want to ever live here in this darn place? It's so damn cold, and how are we going to drive in the snow? And, blah, 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 blah. I'm just, I can't believe we're in this place. And, it's cold, but I've learned how to work in it, to be in it, to go out into nature, and actually even how to enjoy it. Now I just go, woo, it's brisk and it feels pretty good. So as I'm standing outside with the dogs, I see a man walk by with a business suit and business shoes on, walking, down the road. And he's obviously come from quite a distance, right? I can see that he's probably been walking quite a while. And I look again at my phone. I'm like, it's like 17 degrees. I mean, no sweater, no jacket, no hat, no gloves, and he's just walking home, and he goes into a place where I always see him in the summer. I've seen him go in that place. And this is yet another reminder. As I mentioned to you about the third world song, State of Siege, and a plan to heat up the wata, the Jamaican way of saying water, the wata. The living waters inside of you are just as important. As we get into this live stream about waves and oscillations. And I promise it won't be too long. It won't be yak, 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 for 40 minutes or an hour, which I can easily do. And I know you know that. But these people are heating up. And it doesn't matter if they're in a stick thin body or if they're in a really big body. You see big bodied people out. I see them out all the time here in Minnesota. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'd be freezing. And they've got a t-shirt and shorts on and some tennis shoes, and they're walking around like they're just feeling good. They're like, well, I'm just warm-blooded, or I'm really cold-blooded. Conversely, you see people walking around and they're like me, right? Like today I was like, kind of wondering if I should put those overalls on that I got for $39 at the Fleet Farm that have the quilted lining that I got for my, go out and explore, which I'm going to really be getting into. I'm hoping we can get me up to 10,000 subscribers. It's not that hard. We can do it. I really know that we can. So that I can use my phone and take pictures and send things on community posts. I think it'd be lovely. Instead of you always, kind of nice to come into my home here, but here's Luna. Can you say hi, Luna? There's fire over there in the corner. And Pablo is that little bump in the blanket over there on the doggy bed. And this is a handmade mini shawl that I got from Danielle on Facebook. She makes them, and I think I got this from her 5-6 years ago. And I really like it a lot. It's also reversible. So the other side's kind of got more brown to it. And you can just layer it over a really inexpensive Walmart turtleneck, which is what I've got here. Okay. So I wanted to bring that up, that this is another reason why hair tissue testing is so important, is because it's going to really give you a great idea based on your hair. Or if you don't have scalp hair that you can take it just from the sides or just from the back if you've got, male pattern baldness. You can take it from the beard. You can take ancillary hair from the chest, especially if you're a male. And you can take pubic hair. But you want to always make sure that you're cutting it right at the scalp. So just cut it, pull up a little piece over here, kind of so you're not making a big bald spot. You don't really have to cut that much. You're cutting it, pulling it up, and now that my hair is going to be much longer, right? So I'm only going to submit 1.5 inch long piece. Put it on the scale, make sure you've got enough so we're not back and forth in the mail and you're getting frustrated. And, it seems overwhelming the first time you do it, and then you do it the first time and you're like, that's really simple though. I'm not going to worry about that at all. Okay. So, and then the second thing before we dive into waves and oscillations, which is really, really super important and cool. And you don't have to be a big physics buff. Well, I am a physics buff, but I'm definitely an absolute baby in physics. I would really love to hear from other people that know physics really well. You're always welcome to come on here and be like, well, actually, I know a lot about physics and I want to add this, and respect. Okay. So the other thing is I was on a webinar at noon and I was getting some information. I have a webinar on Saturday too that's going to be put on by many different doctors, it's only $10, which is great. I won't say the name because it's probably going to trigger something here. But while I was on the webinar, the guy was talking about how, well, if you give somebody a workshop, and it wasn't just one of these routine health coaching things. It was actually put on by a company that I do courses and I work with. So I wanted to watch it because they were putting it on. And what I noticed was the young man, who most people would call African American, and I would call a melanated man or an African descendant, was a fairly young man. I'm gonna say for sure he was under 40. I noticed that the outer thirds of his eyebrows were just about missing. And I noticed that he had patches of pigment missing on his face. And it wasn't just, what we chalk up to winter skin or maybe not getting out and getting enough sunlight because of the virus. And he's been, in lockdown and quarantining and all these things that we do that are really, but see, here's an example where he was like, I could do a 3-hour workshop with a client and I could easily ask for $10,000 or whatever, because I'm going to do this audit function for them. And I'm thinking, okay, 3 hours and that much money, that's a lot. I mean, I feel that I have really grossly undercharged my clients for 37 years. And yet sometimes clients get on the screen and I want to engage in it being light and kind of see their personality come out. At the same time, I'm like, here's the food. Here's about the tear tissue test, why you need it. Here's the element I think is associated with it. Here's why we need to look at mom and dad, especially mom. This is what an inherited tissue pattern is. Ask him so I can hear him talk and I can kind of take down some notes. And then I'm hearing the word sound that he chooses, not as a judge, but I'm able to start forming mind-body associations on many different plates that I hold because I've been doing this a long time. It's like if you get on the playground at school, and now you're 45 years old and you were playing, what's that game? Tetherball, and you're hitting the ball with your fist. All these years, 45 years you've been playing tetherball, or 30 years you've been playing tetherball. And you get on to play tetherball, right? And people are going to go, damn, she's really good, right? Okay, well, so I'm not exactly always linear. I'm not linear. I don't want to just be straightforward and get to the point and this is what distinguishes me as a shaman and a medicine woman from a clinician, is the clinician really only has 10 or 15 minutes. And even if they did have 45 minutes, or in this case, I gave an hour because it was my first F up. And I didn't see that he'd scheduled 9 hours ago for that morning. And I was like, this is the first time this has ever happened to me. And I'm genuinely sorry. And so I said, if you don't mind, I'll give you some extra time, or I really want to make up for this. I'm really, truly sorry. I said, I've been kind of a little bit off. And usually I'm on my email, checking it first thing in the rise so that when people do schedule through the website, I don't miss a beat. And so he was so nice about it. He was really, really, really a very intelligent, very super intelligent guy that was really about solving problems. But I am a very different kind of a provider in the sense that I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nurse. And I never wanted to go to school to be a clinician, someone who's like, okay, here's the facts. And the facts are, and these facts are, right? And it's like reading a nutrition label on a product, but you don't really know that, well, those mangoes came from really, really piss poor soil, and they really don't have hardly any nutrients in them, Or you bought seaweed from the Japanese, and the Japanese had already blanched it and taken all the minerals, or most of them, off into the water. And so you were buying a really inferior product that you were spending $10 for a little bag of seaweed. And these are all things that I'm investing my time by calling magnesium suppliers like Cal, calling seaweed people, calling people that do this and people that do that, and visiting and experimenting with treatments and experimenting with new supplements and experimenting with the Agi Pure line that Swanson has now. And then coming back and saying, and especially having had dogs in my pack, in my family, canine companions, for 59 years, just about every one of those years, big bully breed dogs have lived with me. And so when something goes wrong, I need to know what to do because I usually rely on myself more. Okay, so when you see people outside, they're walking around and they're, they're not extra cool, or they're just freezing and their fingers and toes especially are just freezing. They would get on the massage table, certain people, and no matter what you did, you'd work on them for an hour. And this was me too, okay? And they were a slow type 1 metabolizer, which is the majority of people, especially in America. And their fingers and toes, they could be in a super warm room on a warm table with lots of blankets, and I'm kind of getting all their circulation going and, helping them out on the table and doing all this body work, and moving the blood flow. But their fingers and their feet, you get down to their feet and you'd be like, whoa, they're freezing even to my hands. And that's a slow metabolizer. We want to take a look at that chart and say, oh, whoa, your thyroid deficiency is causing this. Wouldn't you like to warm up? And do you want to know all the benefits of warming up your body temperature? You really do, because it's no fun running around like you're in a morgue all of your life, which was a big part of my life. So I have a lot of experience, cold fingers and toes, slowed down affect, comprehension difficulties, all of these come along, and then if you start to factor in some of these other issues, I want to look at your ratios. I want to look at your copper and your zinc. I want to look at your toxic ratios. I want to look to see, is your body moving through some of these toxic elements? Is your iron and magnesium helping you out? Did you use so much of the magnesium because you're so deficient in it that now your calcium levels are rising? I saw that lag. Your calcium levels are rising and you're developing calcium shell, which I keep repeating. And you're going into osteoporosis where your doctor's going to ask you to maybe take calcium supplementation. And that really is likely for you. Likely could be a very bad move. There's a lot of published articles on depression, and not just depression, but suicidal depression for particularly women taking calcium supplements. Bing, bang, boing, transition. Now, did you know that you're moving through in waves? Remember the Pink Floyd song, right? Comfortably Numb? Well, I do because I was a teenage girl in San Jose, and we would go to Cupertino, which was just a little adjunct little city, right? And we would go to De Anza Community College, where they probably still have a planetarium. It's a big round dome with great, beautiful speakers, and they would blast a Pink Floyd or a Led Zeppelin show, so we would smoke up some cannabis, which we did starting in 1975 when I was 15. And we'd smoke up our cannabis, which was very lightweight, Colombian, 3-finger bags. I wasn't flipping you off. 3-finger bags for $10 back in the day. And we'd roll up a joint, is what we called them then, or smoke it in a little pipe. We'd go in there as teenagers and, and kick back and whoa, and look at the light show on the planetarium with loud blasting. So I have the lyrics to many of the Pink Floyd songs and Led Zeppelin songs just really affectionately etched within my psyche. They're now programs that run. So Comfortably Numb, I want you to go back and listen to that song after this live stream when I finish here, if you would. Okay? Go back and listen to the song. Pick a song on YouTube that's got the lyrics on it with Comfortably Numb. Now, last night, when I was speaking about the Na'vi and the movie Avatar, I brought up the proven fact, that you have these Blasco lines on your body, which are actually V-shaped, okay? They go down your chest, they go down your torso, they go down your back, right? And much, much, much like Avatar, that these were embryonic migrating lines. So I believe, and I have not proven, and I could be wrong, that they came through your mother's line, linear line, okay? So what is really interesting is that for many, many years it took me to put this together, and I'm going to do my very best to explain it. You are coming through in waves, okay? Like the song, you're coming through in waves, your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying, okay? And it talks about the pinprick. You might feel a little numb, okay? Now I know that song was speaking about something else, but it was really foretelling. And so as Elon Musk stated, that it's pretty much mandatory that we become united with the machine. And as I've been speaking about for a very long time, my step-grandfather, Paul Ludlow, worked on the accelerator at the Lawrence Livermore Lab when I was between the ages of not even being born in 1961 until 1965, 68, when I was being dropped off over there, till my mother figured out something went horribly wrong one time when they dropped me off. And they picked me up and all my hair had been cut off on the back. And that's a whole nother live stream, which would have me in tears. So a long time of spirit level work and remembering and being cracked open and having experiences in the shower. So if you're coming through in waves, waves actually transmit and they move energy. Waves move energy, okay? And so you produce electromagnetic waves. Your body produces electromagnetic waves. Now, we're going to talk about something else called oscillation, which is something when Christina was here last time, I was bringing up with her was about oscillation, okay? And I said it, even in the early 1980s, I had a friend named Johnny in San Jose, where I grew up. It was just a stone's throw. We just called it over the hill, and you were in Santa Cruz at the beach. So I grew up around a surfing culture. I became a scuba diver. I did underwater modeling for a time where I got trips and clothing and certification and fabulous meals instead of, cash payment. It was really, really, really awesome. I got to go to Hawaii and the cathedrals out, in California, which they're called the cathedrals. They're absolutely amazing. We did diving out there. So oscillation is whenever think of like a pendulum. It's going to and fro and to and fro with kind of a predictable precision, right? To and fro and to and fro. We would be oscillating together, but for the fact that many of you who are going to be listening to me at some point in time, I already know this. I already see you and feel you. Even if I'm, no longer here on YouTube, I will know this. Have experienced rapid heartbeat, which the medical industry calls in the Harry Potter-ish tachycardia. My son experienced tachycardia through endocrinopathy through opioid use, meaning that he already had a glandular issue with his thyroid, which exacerbated the endocrinopathy, pushing him into a faster and faster metabolism. I literally saw him through hair tissue testing, December of 2017, go from a slow type 4 into a fast, and I knew that he was going to start experiencing more tachycardia. So we had to run to the emergency room probably not less than about 20 times. I don't even know. I'm going to have to look through all the records, which I've done, but I didn't make notations on how many times we went. So I saw the treatment that you get in the very beginning when you're kind of a mainstreamer. And then I saw the stigma that's attached to it, what just almost tackling him and removing his clothes when we came in there very peaceful and he's suffering with this tachycardia. I'm like, what are you doing? What the hell is wrong with you people? Essentia, Duluth, Minnesota. Great doctors in there, really, really awful doctors. Great and awful, just like anywhere else you would go, okay? You're a wave. You're coming through in waves. And we would be having this oscillation because of our heart, which is a muscle in the medical world, right? But its coherent heart field, which I learned about, I'm going to attribute heartmath.org, taking their course several, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and learning about even more, because I knew some, a little bit, poquito, a little bit more about the coherent heart field from HeartMath. I lived in Santa Cruz. Boulder Creek was like a stone's throw. It was just up and nestled in like what we used to call the mountainous area, but there were hills. Boulder Creek is beautiful. Love Boulder Creek people. These are my homies, okay? Santa Cruz and Boulder Creek, you're my homies to the core. 42 years, born and raised, and my parents were raised out there too. Dad was born in Oakland. So you are someone that moves energy for the plantation. And we would be oscillating the to and the fro. Think about the up and the down, the in and the out of the heart. We would be doing this in synchrony, and you saw this in Avatar. You saw the shaman doing it as the people were back and forth. What you saw was oscillation. And when the group mind has formed the image, when they have born the image through the imagination, they are able to birth a new reality. And this is why African dance is so powerful. I'm so fortunate to have come into several years of about 3 times a week of live African dance class with many, many women sweating in sarongs and cowrie shell belts and barefooted and learning my favorite. I didn't like the West Africans so much. I love West African people, but I love the Congolese dance because it taught me real time with my feet. It taught me rhythm. It shook the white rhythm dork out of me. People were laughing. They were crying. They were like, oh shit, you're not going to get it. You're just never going to get it. And I was like, fuck that. I'm going to get it, damn it. I'm going to get it. Okay. And it's the same thing with losing my child on earth. Don't think for one moment, then I'm not ripped open and busted. I am. But my ass is very strong and very powerful, and I'm not going to give in. Never. I had right above my son's bed in his room since he was a baby. Never give in, with the lion and the red, gold, and green on it. That was made for him from one of the guys that was making those for reggae festivals. So you are a wave, and even the hairs on your body and your vibration. So you can now take your imagination and think for just a moment. If all the folks walking around out here are very imbalanced with unstable energy, I walked out the other day, and I think I shared a little bit with you that this man was, I thought, oh shit, I'm seeing the first zombie. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm seeing the first zombie. And then he stood over there. And I reminded myself of some of what I saw with my son, and how people who were also using opioids, meaning opiates are the drug dispensed by the doctors, drugs designed by that hideous family, they wanted to entrap us. Opioids stands for the street level opiates, the fentanyls, the the dark web oxys, the pills that people are buying. And then, oops, those had fentanyl in them. You better be real careful. So I've seen a lot of people that call themselves tweakers and they call themselves meth users. And I don't want to be disrespectful, because I would never have the awareness I have today, but for going through those 4 years, 2016, 17, 18, and 19 with my own child. Woo! What a learning curve. And now we're sitting on the precipice of another one that's even bigger. And I'm trying to get my strength up as fast as I can. So tomorrow, I'm hoping next rise, I'm going to show you a really key supplement that I use. It's a little pricey. It's about $35 a bottle, but it really works. And by working, I mean, I'm standing back up straight where I was really hunched over, and I was really, I was messed up, okay, badly. So I'm going to look here for just a second. There was something that I wanted to read to you. Let me just go to that tab and I'll come back. Do humans give off energy, and how strong is the human electromagnetic field? Through the everyday exposure, through these sources, the average person is exposed to magnetic fields. And the Earth's magnetic field, oh, that's not the page I wanted to read. I was reading another page there. In physics, mathematics, and related fields, so I can't see myself on the screen right now, I'm just reading another screen. A wave is propagating dynamic disturbance of one or more quantities, sometimes as described by a wave equation. In physical waves, at least two field quantities in wave medium are involved, okay? And oftentimes there's longitudinal as well as transverse, which is not part of that article. But what you can do is simply Google, what is a wave? Okay. Now, see what else I had here. So we're making waves with our hair, and our entire bodies have hair on them, like my little dreadies that are forming here. They're forming really nicely too. I'm so thankful I'm showing you kind of on a day by day what we're doing. And I don't wash them in the wintertime. I don't even want to wash them once a week. That might sound really gross to some of you, but it seems really gross to me to wash your hair every day or every other day, because you're just stripping all the oils out of your body. Okay, so be careful with that. So this is really interesting. So you've got these V stripes, the Blasco lines, which I talked about yesterday. We've been building on healing. What is healing? The demonstration of healing, like falling and scraping the knee and getting the wound, and then it forms a scab, and then the scab falls off, right? We heal. But you try to mention this to people, or you try to tell them, you're going to go into the doctor, and they're going to go, well, you seem like you're pretty healthy. Looks like you're doing all the right stuff, guy. Hey, doing good. I guess I'll see you in a year. I mean, unless you get sick or something. But as I said yesterday, last rise, what I said to you was what? You have been indoctrinated, with emphasis on doctor, You've been indoctrinated to expect to be sick. So I made a post on my wall today at Naturally with Karen. I noticed not one person liked it, but about 43 people clicked on the post and read it. And this is what we're doing. We're kind of like staying in our little shell. We're not really going to come out and like show people that we like it. And there's sundry reasons for that, but it's really not very effective for the whole. And I said, Mama has just been told she's got cancer by the doctor, so they're going to do further testing. They're going to set up an aggressive protocol. Grandma has been told she's got colorectal cancer, so they're going to do more testing. They're going to set up an aggressive protocol for grandma, which may include radiation and chemotherapy, or it may include a bowel resectioning and chemotherapy. Radiation might be in there too, depending on what her cell counts are and all that, right? And little Johnny, he can't sit still in the toxic classroom. He's just being obnoxious, and he's got loads and loads and loads of energy. He's got so much hyperactivity. It's just driving the distraction in the room, which is causing the teacher to feel frustrated. Well, now we don't even know if we have a classroom after all these years of penal institution schools. And so now we're going to send little Johnny off. He's only 8 years old. We're going to make sure he gets on something to medicate his brain, which is usually we're going to do the counterclockwise thing, right? Catch that, because that was a nugget. We're going to do the counterclockwise thing, and we're going to give little Johnny a stimulant, because the stimulant is going to slow Johnny down. And why is that? Because Johnny is a fast metabolizer. Because as children, they need a faster metabolism until it slows down, so they can grow and finish the connection, the finishing of their bone plates. Okay, you have bone plates in your body in various places in your femur and so on and so forth that they need to have solid growth. And so when you have your children hair tissue tested, and I find out that there's this one particular trace element, and when it is in deficit, oh my God, where am I at? 32 minutes. When it is in a deficit, your child's not going to be meeting growth expectations according to your pediatricians, okay? So what did we cover tonight? Fast and slow metabolisms in terms of illustration, and why people are walking outside with shorts and a t-shirt. I don't know, I'm just really warm-blooded. No, you're not. You're being foolish, because as you go into disease, you're going into a fast metabolism, which means your thyroid and your adrenals are speeding up because you've been ignoring them for too long. Okay, that's what that means. That's what that means. I find it difficult today to know that there's young people out there that are giving you less than a fraction of what I'm giving you in sum total, with over 100 YouTube videos. Excuse me. Resurrecting myself as quickly as I have, just a year and almost 2 months after my son's death, and a grueling, tortuous situation my child went through, and I went through vicariously with him for 4 years. I need 10,000 subscribers so I can do stories and give you images and get outside and show you things, things that are crucial. And I need that. So I need many ones, to figure out a way to help me to get these 10,000 subscribers quickly. And if it just turns out that no one's really interested in my content, but they're just being voyeurs and they're not really interested in interacting, then perhaps I need to find another platform. I don't know. I'm not trying to be catty or punitive, but I'm just saying that, this is time. It's time invested. And it's very, very important, because the medicine that I bring, I don't see it anywhere else out there. Nowhere. Dr. Savy is gone. I am in contact with Dr. Savy's wife, and they have a new product that they're coming out with in response to what's going on. I've been talking with their group over at the Fig Tree. And so I'm expecting a call from someone in charge over there, or someone who's kind of at the top, who's supposed to be giving me a call here pretty soon. We've been speaking, and we're going to speak in more detail. So that's kind of really interesting too. So I really do have my hands out there, my mind out there. I've ordered a new book on selenium that I'm reading, because selenium is another major, major healer. And I know we're hitting at 30 minutes, and I don't want to okay? So I hope you found this valuable. You are a wave. And so perturbing that wave, that nice little coherent wave, that oscillating heart, perturbing it with psychological warfare. Psychological warfare. Scaring you, bombarding your phone with tons of viral related messages and articles, and then installing bars on Facebook for the whole updates and what you need to do to take precaution. Holy shit. We used to immunize the dogs. In 1971, when I was too dumb, for this particular viral entity. Knowing what I know today, hell no. No way. Come again. So many people put themselves out there for you. We're only touching the tip. No way am I going to go way out there for y'all, right? A little Southern spin on things. Unless I have the support, and that's what I need. So otherwise, I got to find another avenue because maybe it's too blocked up. I don't know. But I'm asking for your help to actively engage, actively click the like button so it keeps it going on the algorithms, actively share it, and leave me a message under the video and say, hey, I learned about something and I appreciate that. I thought people were just warm-blooded. I thought I didn't know, or, ang. Get your hair tissue tests. I'm going to be on Vayata's Blog Talk Radio this coming Friday. I'm going to speak a little bit about the bogus germ theory and how that's kind of being utilized today. And I'm also going to do a consult for her. She's just received her patient report, and she's going to have hers done on the air. So you can join us at Vietta is her Facebook name, Vietta Robinson on Facebook. I'm sure she'll make that public. So even if you're not her friend, you don't have to bombard her with friend requests. All you have to do is go to her page in Minnesota time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or maybe a little bit longer. And I'll be coming on either right away or probably about 7:30 or 8 o'clock, somewhere in there. And I'll be talking about germ theory, Louis Pasteur, the liar, who admitted to it on his deathbed. And something, again, that I've been teaching for a very long time, that stop being germ phobic. I've never carried sanitizer. It's ridiculous. And stop putting that stuff on your hands unless it's just essential oil based. Stop using toxic cleaners in an environment that other people share with you. You're sickening other people using those toxic chemicals for cleaners. And once in a while, I admitted myself that after 25 plus 30 something years, before Zal was born, I was only bringing home completely non-toxic cleaners. I wasn't buying paper towels. I've got 3 dogs living with me. And they had some stomach problems, including last night again, although I slept through it and drooled all over the little pillow that I was using, because I still have to prop myself up just a little bit after a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe, who knows. I couldn't even keep track of myself. So you take good care, and I hope this has been helpful and beneficial for you. And let's just keep on building. Let's keep on keeping on. Let's keep building. It's important for you to understand the coherent heart field, what these hair tissue tests do, which are so different than serum blood testing, and how I can help just about anything that you've got, because you need to uncover, take off the cover, and find the original root causes or causatives so that you know what you're dealing with. Instead of just shoving a pill down the hatch or going in there and having your body chained down and major anesthesia like fentanyl, dumped in there. They're going to, take the saw and saw the body part and take away the bad stuff. Let's get rid of the game operation. All right. So I'm hoping to be on here next Rise and show you a couple of, or at least one really cool supplement that I just got in the mail today. And I think it's going to be really a good benefit, so that if you have that situation, you can come back to that video and go, what was that again? Oh, that's right. She showed me a picture of it. You be well and know that I love you all. And even when I'm grumpy, angry, biting, cussing, I'm still a lovely, nice individual woman. It's just I'm hurt. I'm deeply hurt. And when we're hurt, when Wolf is hurt and wounded and laying on the ground, it will bite you. I'm not a weakling. I will bite. Okay? But I will also be the most powerful influence and representative for you you've ever found. Good night. Be well.